Hi friends, we have already seen the log-based and the timestamp-based protocol. Today we will see the deadlock prevention and the avoidance policy. So before going to the deadlock prevention and the avoidance policy, first we will see in the log-based protocol how the deadlock occurs. So just see to this example. Here we have the read log on Y. We can read the data item Y. Then the transaction T2 has a read log on X and it can read the data item X. Now the transaction T1 dash wants a write log on the data item X. So T1 dash is waiting for the T2 dash to release the read log, that is the shared log that is held on the data item. It is waiting. Now let's talk about the transaction T2 dash. It is waiting for a write log on the data item Y that is held by the T1 dash. So T1 dash is holding a share log or a read log, and T2 dash is waiting for a write log on a Y. Unless and until T1 dash release it, T2 dash cannot take it. So you can see T2 dash is waiting for T1 dash, and over here we are having a deadlock situation. So when the deadlock situation is there, when we are processing the transaction, at that time, there are the two methods, deadlock prevention and deadlock detection and resolution method. In deadlock prevention, the system enforces additional rules to ensure the deadlock do not occur. So prevention is before deadlock to be occur in the system, some rules are implemented. And the second method is deadlock is occurred into the system and it is detected, then how to come up with that problem of the deadlock, how we can abort the transaction and come up with the problem of the deadlock. So those are the two policies, that is prevention and deadlock detection and the resolution policy. So we will see the deadlock prevention policy. In the deadlock prevention policy, already we have seen conservative two-phase locking protocol, which is a deadlock-free protocol. Now what this protocol does is, the conservative 2PL protocol locks all the data item that is required for execution of the transaction beforehand only. So before the transaction begins, it takes all the logs on the data item that it wants for that transaction. But there are two main disadvantages of using this protocol. Because as it is acquiring all the logs, of course, it is not going to be wait for anybody to complete its transaction. So, but there is a disadvantage. It is often hard to predict before the transaction what data item needs to be locked. So when the transaction execution start, it will be very difficult for the prediction of on which data item the lock is going to be required. Because in this case, what we are doing is we are just taking the locks on all the data items that is required for the execution of that transaction, and data item utilization may be very low also. So it may possible that can have locked most of the data item and some of the data item is unused for a longer period of time. So I am also not using, or that particular transaction is also not using, and um, as it is locked by that particular transaction, nobody else can use that. So again, there is going to be problem with this conservative 2PL method. In the second approach, what you can do is we can prevent the deadlock. So for preventing the deadlock is to use the preemption or the transaction rollback. So in the second approach, we can see that either we can preempt a transaction or the transaction is going to be aborted. What is meaning of the preemption? So suppose a particular transaction is executing and another older transaction comes, then older transaction is going to be preempt that transaction and it is going to be start its own execution. So that is called as the preemption. So in this methods, in the second approach, there are the two methods that is going to be used. Later on we will see. But in this method, what is going to be done is when a transaction T2 requests a lock that is held by the transaction T1, then what is going to be done? So T2 is requesting a lock that is held by the T1. So T2 is requesting a lock that is held by the T1. So the lock is granted to T1 may be preempted. What do you mean by this lock that is given by the T1 is going to be preempted, and the preempted transactions will be rolled back. So this is going to be when it is going to be preempted, this transaction will be rolled back and this is going to be aborted and the lock request is given to the T2. So to control the preemption, what we can do is we can assign a unique timestamp to each of the transactions. So timestamping concept we have already seen. So the transactions are also given a timestamp. Read and the write operations are also given the timestamp. So over here we are talking about the timestamp of a transaction. So unique timestamp is given to each of the transaction. Whenever TI requests for a lock on the data item held by TJ, this timestamp will be used to decide whether the transaction should be wait or whether it should be rolled back. Because if directly we are going to be preempt any of the transaction at that time, how it is going to be decided whether it is going to be the old transaction or whether it is going to be the younger transaction. So generally when you stand in a queue, whoever is standing first will getting the first chance to, let's say, purchase something, or you are just going to a big bazaar and you are standing in a queue for uh, buying some items. So at that time, if you are the first one, you will get the first chance. Who are going to be the last one will get the last chance uh, to buy something. So this way, to identify which is the younger transaction and which is going to be the older transaction, the unique timestamp value will be assigned. So over here, we are making use of the two concepts, the locking approach of the two-phase locking protocol and the timestamping approach of the timestamp based protocol. So over here, the unique timestamp value is going to be assigned to the transaction TI and the TJ. And this timestamp will be used to decide whether the transaction should wait or whether they should be rolled back. So whether I should allow to wait this transaction or whether I should allow this transaction to be rolled back, that is going to be decided. So there are the two different deadlock prevention schemes using the timestamp under the second approach are used. The first approach is called, so deadlock prevention के लिए what we are doing is we are making use of the timestamp based approach. We are giving the unique timestamp to the transaction, and based on that we are deciding whether the transaction should wait or whether the transaction should be rolled back. The first approach is going to be called as the wait die protocol. Okay, so this is called as a wait die protocol also. The scheme is based on non-preemptive techniques. So over here, the transactions are not preempted. That's why this is called as the non-preemptive. So what we are doing when we are doing the preemption, that particular transaction will be rolled back. So in this scheme, we are not doing any kind of preemption. Okay, so this is a non-preemptive technique. So how this technique works, when a transaction TI requests a data item, a lock on the data item currently held by the TJ. So just again, I will draw the diagram and I'll tell you how the things are working in this. So this is my transaction TI. So now transaction TI is going to be waiting for the transaction TJ, which is currently holding the lock. So if TJ is currently holding the lock, I have to be think about their timestamp value. Okay. So if TI is allowed to wait only if it has the timestamp value smaller than TJ. So let's take some timestamp value. So my timestamp value of the TI is 5. It means this is the older transaction. My timestamp value of the TJ is going to be 10. That means it is going to be so timestamp value of TI is 5. That is the older transaction. Timestamp value of TJ is 10. This one is going to be the younger transaction. And the timestamp value of TK is going to be the 15. So this one is the youngest transaction. Okay. So what is going to be happen whenever we are making use of the wait die protocol? In this wait die protocol, what is going to be what is the rule that we are implementing is if the timestamp value of TI is less than the timestamp value of TJ, that means TI is going to be your old transaction. So whenever we are checking the timestamp value, whichever timestamp value is less, it means this one is going to be the old transaction and TJ is going to be the young transaction. So if TI is going to be the old transaction, it is going to be wait. Okay, it will wait until TI finishes execution and release the lock. Okay, so over here we are not doing any kind of preemption. Next, if I'm already executing the TJ and the transaction TK is waiting for something. Okay, now let's talk about the TK. Now if I will talk about the TK, TK is going to be have the timestamp value that is greater than TJ, because the timestamp value of TK is 15 and timestamp value of the TJ is 10. So which is going to be the old transaction now? The old transaction now will be the TJ and the young transaction now will be the TK. So in this case, what we are doing, if old transaction is coming, then we are telling him to wait. But if young transaction is coming, whose timestamp value is greater than the timestamp value of the transaction that is executing. So you can see the timestamp value of TK is greater than the timestamp value of TJ. Then what we are going to be do is TK will be rolled back over here. So this transaction will be rolled back and a rolled back transaction is going to be aborted and started as a new transaction. So this one will be now the rollback. So either we are waiting or either we are, if it is a younger transaction who wants the execution first, that younger transaction has to be rolled back. So this is a non-preemptive technique which is called as a wait die protocol. And whenever a transaction is rolled back, it means it dies and it will be later on start with a new timestamp value. So that is the wait die protocol, means old transaction is waiting and the young transaction is dying in this case. So this is the wait die protocol. The second protocol is called as the wound wait protocol. Now this technique is based on a preemption technique. So this technique is now preempting a particular transaction and starting its own execution. So when a transaction TI requests a lock on a data item that is held by TJ. So again, the same timestamp value we will consider like in the previous example. So again, just we will go with the TI and the TJ. Now, TI is waiting for the TJ for its execution. Now, TI is allowed to wait only if it has a timestamp value larger than TJ. What it means? If the timestamp value of TI is larger than TJ, that means TI is going to be becoming the younger transaction. And if it is going to be the younger transaction, then we are allowing that younger transaction to wait. Okay. But if the timestamp value of TI is less than the timestamp value of TJ, at that time the TI becomes the old transaction. And if it is old transaction, then TJ is rolled back. Then the young transaction has to be rolled back and TI is going to be wounded. TJ is going to be wounded by TI. Means TI is preempting the TJ if TI is going to be the old transaction. But if it is a young transaction, it will wait. But if it is going to be the old transaction, it will wound Tj. So Ti will be wound Tj. So just we'll go with the previous example. Now the timestamp value of the Ti is 5. Okay, as the previous example, the timestamp value of Tj is 10. Now what will be happen in this case? Ti is requesting the lock on the data item that is held by the Tj. Then what will be happen? If this timestamp value is less than this, Ti is the old transaction, and in this case, the younger transaction has to be rolled back. So this transaction will be rolled back in this case, okay, because it is wound by the Ti and the Ti will do its execution. Now in the next case, the timestamp of Tk is 15. And what is the timestamp of Tj? Tj is 10. So if the timestamp value of transaction is greater than the timestamp value of the transaction for which it is waiting for, because the Tk is waiting for the Tj. And what is the timestamp value of the Tj? Timestamp value of the Tj is 10. And the timestamp value of the Tk is greater than that. That means Tk is the younger transaction. And if it is a younger transaction, then it will wait over here. So you can see that the difference between the wound die, it's wait die and the wound wait protocol. So in the wait die, it is working in a different manner. A old transaction is going to be, if its timestamp value is less, then it is waiting. Okay, if it is timestamp value is more, then it is going to be rolled back. But in this case, if it is the old transaction, then it is executing and the young transaction is rolled back. And if it is going to be the young transaction, then it is going to be waiting. So this is what the difference between the wait die and the wound wait protocol. So this way, these are the two important protocols that works as a prevention policy, and it removes the deadlock.